are the materials that we're going to use for this project. I have medium weight yarn in these two beautiful colors, and then I'm going to use a 4.5mm crochet hook and a pair of scissors. You might also need a darning needle and a stitch marker, but these are the basics that you need. Let's get into it. So start by making a slip knot. Insert your hook into your slip knot, and we're going to make chains. I'm going to chain 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then I'm going to chain extra 2. And these extra 2 chains rather, do not count as a stitch. They are just to give our work some height. So we're going to work double crochets into our 16 chains. So that's 1. Okay, and this is to have something that looks exactly like that. So once you've made all your double crochet, it means that you've completed your first row. I'm going to chain 2 again, and I'm going to flip my work to the other side, and we're going to work into the stitches now. So into your first stitch, we're going to make a double crochet, and this row is basically a repeat of our row 1. It's just that now we're working into actual stitches and not chains. So work 1 double crochet into all the stitches, and we're going to continue to repeat that until we have a total of 16 rows of double crochet. So what that means is that at the end of every row, you chain 2, turn your work, and you begin the next row of double crochet. Once you have your 17 rows rather, once you have your 17 rows all done, we're now going to fold our piece. So here I like to count 4 rows. So I'm going to count 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to fold at that 4th row. Okay, this is going to be our flap, and then just going to fold the rest in half to make that that flap joint, if that makes sense. Okay. So this is what we'll have, right? And then now we're going to work around the border to join it together. Okay. To work with the back facing me first, because I'm still going to work in the opposite direction for our scalloped edging. I like to work in the back facing me first. I'm just going to insert my hook in the center, right? I'm not taking the 2 pieces together like this. I'm actually just going at that joint like this. And here is where I'm going to attach my pink yarn. And I'm just going to make 1 chain. This is just to secure it. So now I'm going to be sandwiching the 2 pieces together, insert my hook, and make a single crochet. I'm going to repeat that along the border, holding the 2 pieces together and making single crochet. Okay, so when I make it to this joint here, I'm just going to make 1 single crochet and make sure that I pick up the first stitch of this our first row single crochet. So my my last single crochet that joins them together, I'm going to make sure that I pick up the top of this stitch, or the bottom in this case, and then complete the stitch. Okay, now we're going to work around here, just around the side, one single crochet also into two single crochets into every row. That's how I know the amount to be, because a double crochet is quite long, so it's like I'm making two single crochets into every row or double crochet. And I just continue that. Now I'm at the edge here. I'm going to make sure that I'm working into the top of this single crochet here. One, two stitches, three stitches actually, to form the corner here. So three stitches into that top double crochet, a corner double crochet, and then I'm also going to repeat the same thing on this side when we get there. So we're here at the corner again, and we're going to work another three single crochets. It helps form the corner. Then we're just going to continue to work single crochets, right? At this point, you want to make sure that the other side is lined up properly. Okay, so that when you're beginning to join, you join at the right place. So I just like to hold that together while I continue working. And then when I get there, I just sandwich them together basically. Just check one more time. Make sure that everything's good. If I'm going to make one more stitch. And remember that your first stitch there has to go into the top of that double crochet at the corner. And then you just continue to crochet single crochets until you have exhausted, or until you have stitched finish. Okay, so I didn't pick up the other side by mistake. I'm going to do that again. Okay. So once you complete your last single crochet, we're going to chain one, and then we're going to start working on our scalloped edge. So this is one stitch, two stitches. So I'm going to skip two stitches, and into the third stitch, I'm going to make 5 double crochets. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now we're going to skip one stitch and then slip stitch into the next one to complete the scallop. So we've just created our first scallop, and then we're going to repeat that process. Skip 2 stitches, go into the third one and make 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then we're going to skip one stitch and then slip stitch into the next stitch. Okay, it's just as simple as that. And just repeat that until you have exhausted, or just repeat that until you walk back to this side. Once you've completed your scallops, you can then chain one and fasten off. Grab a darning needle to weave in your end. I'm going to cut off this end here because I already wove that in when I was working my single crochets. And this is what your work should look like. Is a very cute and simple card holder, and I just love it. This is the other one that I made. So very nice and cute. Okay, so I'm going to weave in my end, and we're going to do one last thing. So the last step, right, is to figure out how we're going to hold our flap together, right? Because you can't just have it, you know, opening, right? It has to be held together with something. Okay. So for that, I picked a white needle, sorry, a white button that's just going to sit at the center here. Okay. So the gap in between our stitches here is wide enough to wrap around the button, right? So just going to open it up, try to find the center. First let's figure out the position. So here should be here. Okay. So then grab a regular needle and thread, and we're just going to sew the button. We're just going to sew it to it. Now, if you do not have a button, needle and thread, you could use a this magnetic clasp, this thing that you see on bags. You could use that instead of a button, but I don't have that. This is what is easily accessible for me right now. So just do what works for you. Basically, we just need something to hold our pouch or card holder together. Button is completely attached now. It's time for the big reveal. So your button should fit right between one of those stitches that you made for your scallops. Okay. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial.